Welcome, Horror Fam, to HHN365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Duff, and as always, I'm here with my co-hosts, Jess and Jonathan. Hey guys, what's up?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going? Mike also says hi. He's not here, but he says hi, I promise. He likes you too. Anyways, before we get in today's episode, you can always follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, all at HHN365, or our TikTok at HHN365pod. You can join our Discord where we're discussing news, rumors, permits, and basically everything we're discussing on the episode today. You can find the link to that in our description. And then we have a nice merch line. That's at HHN365.com. And if you want to leave a voicemail that we'll put on here the show, react to it, talk about it, make fun of you potentially, if that's what you'd like, let us know. That's 407-906-4134. And on today's show, we're just talking about news and rumors and permits and basically everything I said 10 seconds ago. That's it. That's it.
It's exciting because we haven't had a full news episode in a while.
It's been a long time, which is good. We didn't have to fluff something out. So, yeah. But before we get into that, on a more personal news level, thanks for checking out our 3-6 Live we did on TikTok and the Discord event that we literally just finished. The live Discord event we did was Change My Mind, HHN edition, and people argued our hot takes and tried to change our mind. Some were successful. Some were not. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. And as always, we're going to do that at least once a month, so keep an eye out for the schedules for next month. But now, let's get into actual news, where Jess is going to kick us off.
Oh, I am! Murdy Tweets! Murdy Tweets! Do you want me to actually read the first one? Or am I
you can actually you can do that too. Yeah, go ahead.
So, John Murdy has finished the 7th house treatment for HHN 2024. I was watching a hotline video. I believe Hollywood's just calling it HHN 24.
Okay.
I was watching our friends the hotline, and that's what they kept referring to it as, and it made me cringe a little bit every time. But I guess that's what the Hollywood people are sticking with.
Ooh, no.
Oh, but he gave some clues as to what it might be. When asked if it's an IP or an original, he responds, "Depends on your definition of that," in classic Murdy fashion. Later clarifying that it probably is an IP original. Monsters?
Yeah, obviously, if it's anything that's based on our definition, it has to be an IP then, right? Like,
I guess.
I've never heard of the original IP, like that's, I guess, like Scary Tales. Could that be considered an original IP? I don't know.
But is it cross into like public domain at that point? Like, is it like
exactly?
Yeah.
So it has to be an IP.
Steamboat Willie, like we're finally getting that house, guys.
Been waiting
there it is.
He also said that it involved him researching the Illuminati symbol and other triangular shaped symbols. Okay. And he spent time researching a real place that's history is mostly fiction.
Another man of class who likes triangular shaped symbols.
Okay, but a place that's real with history, to me, as an Orlando person, that screams Carrie.
It is a real place.
With a lot of made
up... It does have a fiction history, yeah. Are they getting... Ooh.
No, don't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
They're just going to grab Scary. Do that.
The whole house. It's actually just the schoolhouse portion.
Hey, it'd probably be scarier because there's no restrictions. So
it's true.
That's true.
It'd probably also not be great. No offense, John Murdy or Hollywood, but I do not trust you.
I don't know what any of these references are. I'm just gonna make my own original take.
Who's this little girl? That's not scary. Here's a demon.
Exactly. I'm guessing none of us really have any guesses besides like possibly Carrie about what the 7th house treatment might be.
To be honest, I think that's about as good of a guess as I could have come up with. So let's do it. Carrie.
There we go. Well, we're locking it in. Carrie, Ohio for Hollywood 24.
Oh God.
I will take this one though, because it's something that just popped up recently. Basically, over a period of like a couple days, Murdy has made 2 tweets in reference to writing a house treatment that had him falling down a rabbit hole researching for it. He also mentioned that he never had dreams about the houses he's working on, but that this one invaded his subconscious, and that under I think the second of these tweets, under the second rabbit hole tweet, someone asked like, "Hey, please give us a hint, Murdy," and he replied, "How do you know I didn't?" We're gonna talk about it a little bit later, but this isn't the first time, or this isn't even the second time, because there were two of these that Alice in Wonderland has been brought up in these tweets we're gonna cover today. So I find that pretty interesting.
So Scary Tales was right, even though that's not my guess at all. It is now. That is, yeah. If it's been mentioned multiple times, that sounds like he is teasing something along those lines, right?
Yeah, because the first time he said it, I'm like, oh, that's just a phrase, like that is nothing. Then he did it again, and then like he's going to do it again later, later down the, in
you mean this next one that I'm gonna read?
Oh yeah, actually yes, I forgot about that one. Absolutely.
So let's get into that. In reference to a tweet relating to if HHN Hollywood has a Beetlejuice house, he responded, "Maybe we did, and you just never saw it." We know that, John. We know that. Or me, for that matter. Or anyone. Curiouser and curiouser.
Another Alice in Wonderland reference.
Jonathan Murdy, yep. I will kill you.
Jonathan Murdy?
Jonathan Murdy. I don't think he...
Jonathan Richard. Seems like it'd be his middle name.
Because he's a dick. Murdy, this is all love. If you can't take that little bit of joking, come on now. I fucking love Alice in Wonderland. I have a whole ass Alice in Wonderland tattoo on my foot. Bitch, I'll fuck you up. Have they ever had an Alice house?
I don't think so.
Now I feel like
Paging John from the hotline. Paging John. Aisle 365.
I'm Googling.
Oh, yeah, I hear.
That's not me.
That's me.
John. Why are you typing like that? What are you typing so furiously about?
My mic is like super close to the keyboard. I don't know. It's just how my setup is. I'm not typing super loud. I'm just seeing if... No, I don't think Hollywood has had anything Alice in Wonderland. We have, obviously.
Yeah.
But not Hollywood. Unless I'm wrong, which could happen. But yeah.
If we're wrong, tell us. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. That makes me very nervous.
At least it's something you'd be interested in, to be excited about. Nervous how he executes it, but excited about the property itself.
That's
if you want to call it a property.
I guess it's something I could see Hollywood do, especially if like something I've talked about it before. I can never remember the name of the video game, but there's an Alice in Wonderland video game from like years ago. And it's like, it starts in an asylum and then she like works through like different pieces of the clock, and it's like bloody and gory and it's very dark and grotesque and almost like Burton-esque in its like way it's drawn or whatever. And I feel like Hollywood could do a really cool like deep dark, like if we're gonna go insane asylum route, and not Asylum in Wonderland like how Orlando did it. Like, let's get dark. Let's not make it kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of like to see their take on that, because I feel like sometimes they can do the darker shit a little better.
Yeah, I'd love it. I mean, I never even saw Orlando's take on Alice in Wonderland. So yeah, I mean, I'll take anything. I think that's a really fun, like I guess property. Like you said, property to make a house on. I think that's a great idea.
Also, doesn't Alice like actually live in a real place and then it's like underground?
Oh.
So relating to that, a real place with a fake history.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't know exactly where. It's in England. I know that. I just don't remember like what city, but I'm pretty sure it's like a real like town or city in England.
Now we just gotta like figure out the Illuminati symbol hint.
Triangles.
And there's like eyes in the Illuminati. It could be like the Cheshire cat, I guess.
Well, if you see the like the original sketchings in like the book are very dark. So I feel like I could see it kind of living in that world. I don't know about Illuminati. I'm not educated in all that, but I feel like it's trippy enough where it could kind of make sense. and like there's eyes around, and I don't know.
I really like that connection. That was good, Duff. I didn't think about the two.
Thank you. I tried.
Jess, do you want to take this next one?
Excuse me. Yes, I'm still trying to figure out where Alice is from. It's bothering me.
All right, I'm gonna Google it. You go ahead. I'll Google while you do this.
All right. Where were we? Oh, John Murdy responded with a crying emoji to a tweet that asked him to give them. Wait, what? That asked him to give them a Halloween 3 house this year. Excuse me. So John Murdy responded with a crying emoji to a tweet that asked him to give them a Halloween 3 house this year. So Murdy feels the same way we all do. Wants it, never happening, or maybe not never. Weirder things have happened.
That was a funny response, a sad response, but it's just like he's like, I know, guys. It was made. It was right there. It was so close. Then it got torn down.
So to go back one step, I can't tell if it's simply just inspired by, but there are a couple locations that make it seem like it actually is. It would be in Oxford, England.
Interesting.
Or less, or more generically, Oxfordshire.
I feel like Oxford is a place you like. Obviously, it's real, but you hear about it a lot more in like literature.
Well, I mean, Oxford's like a pretty well-known city on its own.
Like,
so
I don't know. I don't know anything beyond like what I hear about in like media about Oxford. I guess I don't know. The Oxford comma, does it come from there?
I think it comes from the university. Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so there we go. See, educated.
So yeah, real place. Just saying.
There we go. But now in this section of Murdy Tweets, we're going to dive right into the Murdy Q&A that happened today as we're recording this, right before we recorded. So it gave us a lot of stuff to talk about. We just basically had a question and answer session. A lot of the answers that he gives are nonsense because that was part of it. But there are a lot of answers that are legit answers in here. And that's what I tried to... I tried to get the ones that sounded the most legit or were kind of funny, and I threw them in here. And we'll just start at the first one, which is pretty interesting. Is that, have you ever thought about doing another Orlando original for Hollywood? And he responded, not recently. Which is sad, because I thought Scarecrow was so good, and I wanted to take another Orlando original.
What if he's just being John Murdy, and it was like his first... treatment he wrote, so he hasn't thought about it recently?
It's very possible.
It's John Murdy. Come on.
It is something he would do.
John
and that's
Richard
what everyone...
Murray? Oh, no.
Not
related to Bill. Sorry, Bill.
That is what's something everyone listening should take into account going through these Murdy tweets, is that Murdy likes to play games, and not everything we read and he says... should be taken at face value. Some things should, because some things will be pretty like actually just straight up answers. But sometimes his wording is on purpose because he doesn't want to say things, or he wants to beat around the bush and say different things that he actually means.
And I'd like to emphasize that for this next one I'm going to read as well.
Mm-hmm.
Are we getting any returning houses this year? He says, like literal repeats? No. So, when you just quickly glance, you're like, oh, so no repeats. He specifically says, like, literal repeats? Mm-hmm. And he's done this at least one other time, to our knowledge, with a returning property. And the changes were basically to have them fit the new location it was in. I don't remember which one of the IPs it was. But otherwise, it was almost exactly the same house. So... I almost read this as there's going to be basically a repeat, but not a literal one.
A Hollywood repeat.
Yeah.
We're used to those by now, unfortunately.
Yeah. Look, we took out a black wall because we didn't have space for that black wall. So now there's no transition. See? New house.
This was an attempt before, and now it's in the sound stage. Ooh.
I know Holidays in Hell was like a situation where it's like, yeah, there were like actually like additions, some like you said, some black walls that were themed and whatever. But in the end, and at the end of the day, even with those little additions, it's just the same house, with like a little bit Little
But
bit.
Jonathan, not a literal repeat. Okay?
You're right, not a literal repeat. Exactly. It's not exact.
Jonathan
Silly
Murdy.
Murdy. Let's see. Jess, do you want to take this one?
Sure. I don't know why it keeps minimizing. I
Oh,
don't keep
what?
doing that. No, not
Oh.
you. It's my computer. Has there been progress on making the former Walking Dead attraction a proper black box venue? Yes, work is going on right now.
Good.
That's interesting.
Good.
Like,
Sounds like it's going to be dedicated space for HHN for a while if that's the case. If they're investing in that.
yeah. I mean, okay, a proper black box venue, because like as a not to bring up being a theater person, but like as a theater person, that is like a space that is ready to go for show scenes whenever. Like they can throw walls up, set dress it, and like here we go. That's what a black box is. It's like a small intimate thing. I understand like in this sense it probably means just like a soundstage, more or less, but like that's exciting if they're not investing, but if they're working on something.
It really is, because you could tell the limitations that Horror Hotel / Evil Dead Rise had with the way it was laid out. You could tell there was limitations there, like having no facade, and instead just having the elevator. I think if this is true and it's actually going to just become a black box venue, like a sound stage, I think there is a very big chance we'll see a facade, in here, like the other sound stages have. Well, some of them have. Like it's not like 100% chance, but I think it's more likely that we'll actually see a facade and a different layout than what we have had with the last two in that location. So that's very good news. And this next one here is kind of fun. Do you have any interest in ever doing a 3D house again? And he responded, meh.
Oh, that's my response too. Look at that. You and me, John, same page. Same page. There's so many Johns. I'm confused.
There are so many shots.
So that means if we are getting an Alice in Wonderland type house, it's not going to be Alice in Wonderland in 3D.
It doesn't need to be 3D.
Phew. Thank you.
I've never seen a 3D house. I would love to experience one. I don't need to experience one.
Correct.
I'm okay. I also now have vertigo. So I cannot imagine that is going to be a fun experience for me. So I'm good.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Will the Parisian Courtyard be used as a venue this year? Very vague answer. He says yes.
Oh.
That can mean a lot of things.
That can mean so much. So there, you were going to have a Parisian Courtyard house again, guys. There we go.
He's like, yeah, food
shocked.
venue. Is we're gonna sell food.
They're gonna redo their mells completely, right? Like we just did. No. Okay. Again with Alice in Wonder. If you could turn any non-horror movie into a house, what movie would you choose? And John said Alice in Wonderland because I'm obsessed with Lewis Carroll.
It's another one.
Does that feel too on the nose, though, and almost kind of ruin it for you?
Yes, 100%. He would never just say that.
I wouldn't say never. It's still John
right.
Murdy, but
yeah.
I wouldn't expect it, though.
The thing is, I don't know if it's straight Alice in Wonderland, what he's hinting, or something like in the same vein, or something that can like be derived from Alice in Wonderland, Like, it seems like something he's working on, he's had to do, I assume, research in some way with Alice in Wonderland, but maybe it's not, like you said, the direct way. Maybe it's just something else, like has imagery that's similar, or he wants to take things like maybe it's an original that takes some things from it and some things from others, like. So I don't know. It can mean a lot of things. It's hard to really tell right now. It is interesting how hard he is going on Alice in Wonderland, though. Unlike the Beetlejuice tweet, wasn't related to anything at all. It was just like a random response to someone's question, like about Beetlejuice is coming. I don't think it was like in the same thread. It was like from a couple days ago, and he made the Alice in Wonderland reference. So I don't know. It seems deliberate. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something behind it. But like you say, I feel like maybe not straight up Alice in Wonderland, because this is really early in the season for him to just be like, Alice in Wonderland, and then do it as a property. You know, that'd be surprising.
So I looked up something really quickly, just like things based off Alice in Wonderland. Did you know that Resident Evil is loosely based off Alice in Wonderland?
What?
It is?
That's what. Well, this says at least. I guess the movie is that a.
Oh,
Yeah. The film's artificial intelligence is called the Red Queen, a nod to the decapitation-obsessed Queen of Hearts.
oh.
The Red Queen uses lasers to chop people's heads off. The mansion at the beginning is known as the Looking Glass House. One of the movie's characters is killed by an Alice in Wonderland paperweight, and Resident Evil's heroine's name is Alice.
Oh.
That was just something. Coraline, and I don't think Coraline's coming, but I'm just saying Coraline is also.
Actually, to hop on that, like someone asked about Coraline, he was like, "Nah, that's not our audience," or that he said something like that. So he's like not saying he ever just denies things, but he pretty much said like, "No Coraline."
Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth is also heavily inspired by Alice.
I don't think that'd be a house, but
no. Dream Child, which I have never heard of before. It's a 1985 movie that it literally looks like a horror movie. Interesting. And then The Wizard of Oz is the number one. So, just interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to think about.
All right.
Speaking of, reading into what he says, and not being too literal, he was asked, "Are you diving into more Latin American legends and myths?" And he said, "Right now, no." Does that mean he didn't do it previously in the season? Like previously, like in treatments, or he plans to do it later in treatments? That right now he's just saying in the current moment, as I'm writing this tweet, no. So that doesn't mean no Latin American legends and myths this year as a house. Like I think some people are thinking that, but it's not a direct no in the slightest.
Although I wouldn't mind them going a different direction.
I do agree.
As much as I've loved them, they can try something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What if Monstrous is the house that's returning?
It was here last year.
I know. I don't want it coming back immediately.
No. Is there a chance previous Universal Monster houses return in the future? He says nothing planned like that currently, which, I mean, does sound like it's not happening now. But that he could potentially be open to it, and I don't like that.
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Is there anything you deem too gory and intense for HHN? No.
That's okay. That he deems too gory and intense, maybe.
Exactly.
That's a little different than what executives at NBC Universal think.
Didn't he also say that like one of the La Lechuza scene or something from Monstros he had to stop because he was nauseous or something? Like
yes, yeah, he does that a lot actually.
Yeah. Okay.
And we went through it. We're like, what are you talking about?
All right, Jonathan, calm down. Not you, Jonathan Murdy.
I figured.
Sorry. Government names.
I will take this one. This one's a funny one. Is there any way in the future that we'll get a leprechaun house? Like the movie. And he went like, "They'd kick me out of Ireland, and my citizenship application is going through the system right now, so too risky."
Well, I'm very happy you're going through a citizen application process because we do not need a leprechaun house. Do you think Creature deserves a shot at redemption for either a solo or mashup house? Yes, I designed our version of the character for a 2018 house, but it ended up on the cutting room floor. It's just a full Creature suit, and those are expensive and tough on actors. We just had like whole-on fucking bloaters. Like, what?
And look how tough it was on the actors.
But the point is they don't care. When's that stopped them before?
It hasn't.
What?
I guess maybe his reasoning is that there were only like 2 bloaters in theirs, and for a Creature house, you would need to have majority, like those suits.
It's the expensive part that's the problem,
and that too. That's probably the most.
Also, those would rip so I can only
Yeah.
imagine how many they went through in 2019. Oh my god.
They'd also be much easier on the actors than something like a bloater, at least, though. So
It wouldn't be heavy,
there's
yeah.
that.
Constricting, but oh god, this next one. Would you ever bring the Lost Boys to HHN? It would be fun, but it hasn't really been a possibility. That's fine.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people talk about Lost Boys as an HHN house. I don't see it personally. I don't know how you make it
Same.
work.
Yeah.
I've never seen the film, so like I don't know.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
you need to watch it.
Everyone said it's really good, so I definitely
It
do
is.
need
I
to
think
check
you'd
it
like
out.
it. It's really
It
good.
sounds up my alley.
I just don't see it working at HHN, like in my
Yeah.
opinion.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, it's not like it's nostalgic at this point, but it's not something that like is gonna draw. It's gonna draw crowds, but it's not gonna draw crowds like Ghostbusters does. Like, I can't think of it. Like Stranger Things, like Five Nights at Freddy's, like even Scream would, like shit like that. Like it's not.
It's not a mainstream draw.
It's like a cult. I mean, at this point, I think it's beyond a cult classic, but it is. It's big, but it's not that big.
No.
Mhm.
And like, how many times are we gonna have to hear "Cry Little Sister" in the house?
Oh god.
Like, how many times do you think that would play?
Oh my god, the food they would also serve. You know how many noodles they would sell at HHN? Like a lo mein in a little takeout container.
You know
I'm
what?
so
I would not be
interested in
mad
this
about
movie
that at
now.
all.
Oh yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. I'm so sorry, Jonathan. You need to
No,
watch
you're
it.
good. All I've heard is noodles, so you're good.
Spoil a 30-something-year-old movie.
Yeah, and this last one here, there are other answers he's given if you want to actually look at that for yourself and go through the whole thread. I just tried to take the most interesting ones. And the question was, are there any house locations from last year that won't be returning, and can we expect any new houses? And in classic Murdy fashion, he responded, "Expect the unexpected," which could mean anything. So,
Thanks, John.
For nothing.
Appreciate it. All right, let's move on to our quick bit of Universal Studios Hollywood news, where they have opened a Monsters tribute store. Monsters tribute store. There we go. I got it out. It's in City
There you
Walk,
go.
and to be honest, it looks like they should have called it a tribute room, but tribute store it is. It looks fine. It's just really small and doesn't have too much to it.
Yeah, I'm happy that it seems like it's relatively like it's gonna last a while. It's not like just a couple month thing and it's leaving. So that is nice to have the dedicated store for Monsters merch. But other than that, just like you said, looking at the theming, it's like this I don't it's whatever. It's a nice thing to do, but that's something I go out of my way for if I was there.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to be in California soon, and I'm probably not going to go. So
I don't blame you. Yeah. Shall we move a little closer to home?
yeah,
Let's do
a
it.
little closer.
I mean, I guess it's a little closer.
I can see it.
Okay, don't brag. So for Universal Studios Florida news and rumors, Universal has filed plans for 2 new sprung tents in the area behind the current sprung tents, and they're a little bit bigger than what we're used to. Credit goes to Behind the Throws on Twitter.
And I know, Duff, like the exact, like you can say it better, like where exactly these are going. And we just recently had like bioreconstruct photos like overhead showing the exact area too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the best way to think about it is if you are taking the queue to go to Oddfellows last year, you know that service road that runs along that queue, right? If you literally, where it turns, if you keep going straight down that service road, it's basically right past where those trailers are. Like right there, like right off the road.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of between those trailers and B79. I think it's technically like the extension of B79, but you know what I mean.
Oh, and I mean, speaking of B79, talking about the second part of this rumor is that Alicia Stella believes that these actually might be replacing the parade buildings, both of them, New Parade and Old Parade. And so, how do we feel about that? How do we feel about both getting additional sprungs, but also potentially losing two parade building locations.
We should also point out that, according to the permits, that these are quite a bit larger than our current sprung tents as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be a pretty hefty size. I mean, I can't judge it until we experience them, right? But sprung tents tend to be the strongest locations for me. I think they don't flop a lot and they have some all timers. Um, so adding more, especially ones that are a bit bigger, does not sound bad to me at all. I
Mm-hmm.
love the parade warehouses, but it makes sense. Like they have a purpose outside of HHN, whereas the sprung tents do not.
Yeah. Like I've talked about it before, the parade buildings have had my all-time favorite houses before, and I say that they have good bones. But we saw permits before that were for the old parade building for like hosing or something for ride vehicle repairs.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't see any permits for that being used for HHN. So we already had a feeling that wasn't happening. There's permits and all other things for the new parade that's coming, and licensing and stuff like that. So they need the parade warehouse back, the new one. Like that's where they store the floats, y'all. Like it's been helpful not having a daytime parade since Superstar closed, but it's a reality. This is a working theme park. Like stuff like this is going to happen, and I'm in the same vein as Duff. If it's bigger, bring it on. The only thing that's a downside is more walking. But if we don't have to walk to the parade buildings, maybe it's not as bad.
Yeah, I'm not convinced it would be more walking. And to go
No.
back real quick to avoid confusion, when I was talking about its location, I said behind B79. I meant B108 or the new parade warehouse. So sorry if you were confused for about 2 minutes there. But yeah, so logistically, I don't. That's what I'm most curious about. Like, how are they going to lay these queues out?
Hmm.
And I think there's a potential that it actually creates less walking than we have if you take out the parade warehouses. But I think it also kind of bunches four houses right next to each other, like the entrances, the exits, like all right next to each other now. So there's a lot of things that I'm curious about what they decide to sacrifice because there's going to have to be a sacrifice, whether that's us walking or cramming it all in one area. Uh, you can't avoid either of those or one of those scenarios happening.
Yeah, and then where do the queues go? Like, are we going to build up for two houses like how we had for Last of Us and whatever over there? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We only have foundation laid for enough for two house queues, right? Well, not foundation, but like road. We can't stand in dirt and rain.
It would be
It's
weird if
really
we just went
interesting.
through the parade warehouses for the last time and didn't know it when it happened.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
I've had some of my best memories in those warehouses.
Oh, that's devastating. All right.
I don't want to think about
One
that.
more thing that someone on our Discord event like brought up as a question, which I think is actually pretty interesting to talk about, is do we think that there might be an IP in one of these sprungs? Because historically, there's been an IP in one of the parade buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, every year there's one or two IPs in the parade buildings. With those gone, do we think one or two are going to move to the sprungs, or do we think they're just they're not going to have IPs and they're just going to be originals?
I mean, that's not great for park flow
Mm-hmm.
if you don't do an IP. I'm not going to try to guess, but I don't think they'd want to have all the IPs up front suddenly.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
They could. It's probably not ideal. And especially if the new sprungs like have like a lot more space. Like it seems like I don't know. It seems like they could throw an IP, even like a monsters or something. Like in one of them, and it'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had IPs in Sprungs before, and I know historically a lot of them were pretty good in the Sprungs. Like Halloween, people loved. A lot of people think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in those Sprungs was better than the one in 30. Even though I love 30. But and even Insidious was in there. Like they've had some pretty big IPs in theirs before.
Mm-hmm. Alice Cooper.
Yes, they have had Alice Cooper.
Well, we didn't. Oh my god, The Fast and the Furious was a tent. I mean, or well, that's not the location. MIB was a tent. Excuse me. And we had Blumhouse there. We've had a lot of IPs.
Mm-hmm.
And if these are bigger, that there's no downside. Like I don't see that not working. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would make sense if they felt like they wanted to. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
But we
All right.
have we have a big one next.
Yeah, this
If
is fun.
if
Make sure you listen
yeah,
to everything I say before you celebrate too hard. A rumor has surfaced that Fast and Furious Supercharged might be closing August through November. Alicia Stella says that it's rumored that the supercharged HHN location will be larger this year. That's one way to do it. That is one way to do it. It's true. Although closing in August, I don't know like how does that make the space larger? You
Yeah,
aren't
like
gonna like suddenly close it in August and then like, all right, here we're building half the house now.
could it be that maybe it's that they don't have to close the attraction to build where they need to build? They can just close part of the queue again and like just expand on that, and then in the last couple weeks, they have the whatever they need to move in
But I'm trying to
really
think like where
quickly.
you would go, like where in the queue you could go that wouldn't cut off the queue from getting to the attraction.
I have no idea.
could they use that room? You know the room where you go up and they have the projection and there's a
Mhm.
lot of switchbacks in there and there's some cars and whatever TV. Could they just make that part of the house? Like in I don't know if they could. Maybe? Like and that could be like the additional
Like the part before we get in the house?
yeah, like that little area. So instead of us entering the house through that little door, the house like starts once you walk into the building itself, or like once you walk into that second area where the a lot of the switchbacks are, like right before you enter, like
Mm-hmm.
originally. If like that could start the house instead,
Hmm.
because they don't need the queue
I
for
see
the
what you mean.
because they
Yeah.
won't need the queue for the ride, like because the ride wouldn't be operating, according to these rumors.
Interesting. I still, yeah, it could work. Yeah.
Because if they needed to it like just a little bit of period of time to build something, I think that like that space is like big enough but also small enough that they could like put something up, and it wouldn't take like that much time because it's not that big of an area.
Yeah, but like it's not just building it; it's permitting, it's safety checks, it's so much.
Yeah.
Other than there's a reason
What
they build
if
them well in advance, and it's not just because they want them ready. It's because this has to go through all these different checks and balances too. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's just way too close to actually build something.
but what
Yeah. I
if
don't.
it's not being like what if it's not being built? Okay, hear me out. We're gonna get in the clown car really fast. So
Hong Kong.
what Hong Kong, what if I don't know, turn the house around or flip it around somehow. To exit the house, you go through the exit of the ride and it spits you out into San Fran. So that's part of the ride being closed. They need to have all of that, all the switchbacks taken down or whatever to just flow people fucking out of there.
Hmm,
What if
maybe.
then the garden outside and all of that, what if that is, I don't know if that's still queue or if that's part of the house. Maybe we can throw up a tent out there somehow. I don't know what it is. I don't know how long the tents take to put up. Um, but I feel like it's something that they could do relatively quickly. And I hear you on the permits, but maybe it's not part of the house. Maybe it's part of the queue. Maybe we have actors outside. Maybe it's a between. I don't know. But what if we flip the whole thing around that we know for HHN how they use that space? And what if it's much larger and they just spit us out at
Hmm.
the end the way that the ride spits us out?
Okay,
Hmm.
that makes sense. I thought of one that's a larger scale thing, but could potentially work. So all the indoor queue space they use as queue for HHN specifically. You
Yeah.
know what the part I'm talking about, right? All the way from once you go inside till the entrance of the house.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
What if there's a way to route you past that, like through the outdoor queue, and then you go down because there's like an alleyway behind the building there. What if
Mhm.
that goes directly like to where the pre-shows are?
Oh.
So what if they use all that interior space?
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I don't know why you then closed the attraction during August if you could run it while they were building all that, but I feel like you could probably get right around. Like it's not like one way in, one way out. Like for
No.
guests, typically yes, but there's plenty of entrances and exits throughout the building, so they can reroute you somewhere else around the building. I'm sure.
That could work. I could see it. God, there's so many ways we could take this.
Yeah.
And that'd be a lot more space. Like a lot more space. The problem is it's not just switchbacks. Like there's shit in there.
Yeah.
Which obviously you can take out, but I don't know if they'd want to.
What if, I'm going to go even crazier now, I'm going to raise you one. What if they pull a SeaWorld and we're in the ride path? And we look down and we just see the little loading number.
That's the thing. They don't have to build anything. They literally just send you on the ride path.
Oh my
Not
God.
decorated or anything.
The little, the faceless mannequin drivers just pop out.
Oh, God.
Ugh.
There's also another theory that's not really super fun at all, in that they could just be closing it in August and through November, not really for HHN purposes, but to just save money. Because no one likes it.
I think there's some weight to that, unfortunately. That makes a ton of sense.
Like, there's just been, this isn't super related, but like, they're just testing now getting rid of the glasses on Kong. Like, probably to save money, because the glass is expensive. That's an extra expense. So if they're like, hey, Fast and Furious doesn't need to be open August to November, and that's perfect because we got to build, like we have stuff going on in there anyways. So just
that
close
makes
it down.
So much sense, actually. Like that's when the parks are bringing in the most revenue, and attractions mean the least. B, there's going to be displaced team members, and there just happens to be an event that needs a lot of team members operating it. Oh,
Where's
no.
deploy? Yeah.
It's just a seasonal closure. Oh, no. All that thinking
I hope
for
it's
nothing.
just not that, but...
Can I just, for one more minute, this has nothing to do with how we're going to use the space, but what we're going to use the space for if it's larger?
Yes.
Okay. I was talking to my roommate, and we were discussing, and the one thing that popped in my head is something that was obtained by Blumhouse this year in that Atomic Monster merger. And it's something that would need a very large space because it's a large franchise that they've never done with so many movies. The Conjuring.
Oh.
You thought I was going to say.
You were going for the big one. Okay.
No. Yeah, no, I was going to, because I could do all three Conjurings, both Nuns, Annabelle. I feel like if you're going to have a large ass space, you've never done it. I don't see them milking it with multiple houses, and The Conjuring is over, like, at this point. I mean, really, they're making more, but they're nothing like they used to be. Just do it, get it out of the way, do it in a big mega fucking house, have that be the Blumhouse property since we're not gonna get FNAF. And that's just me driving the clown car. But
so I think the only thing I would say against that is that Atomic Monster doesn't own the property. They just were a production company for it. So can that help? Can that relationship help? Absolutely. But they can't just be like, yeah, we own it. You can use it.
I know. The Warrens, at the end of the day, that estate is so messy.
And Warner Brothers.
So messy. Oh,
so many messy things.
All the messes own
do I know?
property.
No. Warner Brother mess. Wow.
So yeah.
Let's get away from Fast and Furious, please.
Let's move on now to Legacy news. If you guys don't know, Legacy
it's a whole segment named after him now.
Ooh.
Yeah, because there's so much, like there's like a whole page of.
How about we just say in this segment we'll talk about the things Legacy has been saying. Legacy news feels too official,
It's Legacy news.
We don't support any specific insiders. We're open.
No,
we're free agents.
True. It's everyone. This section of the pod just has a ton of Legacy related things. Which, if you guys don't know who Legacy is, he is a insider in the HHN community that has been known for knowing things in the past.
A very trusted insider. Been around forever.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, but
he's the clue guy.
He gives the clues.
Guy.
The clue guy.
It was Mrs. Potts with the cane.
Mrs. Jonathan, what did Legacy say, please?
He said a lot of things. I'll start with the first one, and then we could just go on. But the first one is that basically to give some context on the Inside Universal forums. Many people have been commenting about various HHN33 house speculation that's occurring on various Discord servers. Everyone, lots of Discord servers are like this. Every Discord server does it. Ours does it too. But Legacy commented in regards to that that there was like a weird like list going around on various Discord servers, like, yeah, this is the lineup, when it's like this, whatever, made by someone who I think later just confirmed to be like a total fake, but whatever. And Legacy commented like, yeah, Terrifier was on their list in January, or like the general Discord consensus. They've already moved past that, so that doesn't. To me, that's him saying, no, Terrifier is not a house. Like he didn't say that directly, but it kind of sounds like it.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I think I don't know
none
how
of
do we
us are
feel about
shocked.
that. So yeah.
No.
I think we all kind of thought the same thing. So, okay.
There we go.
Moving on.
Hey, we got it.
All right. Speaking of the fake HHN spec map, let's talk about some of these house concepts that were on there. Poseidon's Fury, Friday the 13th. I almost was about to say what's Wednesday, but Wednesday. Creature of the Black Lagoon. Okay, and we'll get to that property in a minute.
Because that's the bigger segment. This is just like the little ones.
I'm so sorry. Okay, well, can I talk about the other ones then?
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. Everyone just keeps talking about it because that Camp Crystal Lake series is coming out, and it has nothing to do with Jason because he can't be in it. So I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago. The rights are so tied up with Jason Warner Brothers, that this whole series isn't going to have him in it at all. I think it can only have like Pamela. It can only be like the original. So Jason can't be in it. Yeah, it's very much tied up. It's just about the camp. So I don't think we're getting that. Poseidon, didn't Poseidon's Fury fall off a while ago?
Maybe.
I think this is the first time it's ever been like an insider's like, hey, I don't think so.
Okay. Interesting. And Wednesday, I do not like that property. What do you guys think?
I do think the most interesting one on here that Legacy just sort of debunks, like he said, I think all of these on this map are wrong, was Creature of the Black Lagoon. Because I know a lot of people, like if you listen to or you watch anyone's videos about like HHN speculation or listen to anyone or do this or look on Twitter, like everyone for the Monster House, because we get one every year, is like, Creature's gonna be the monster. Like, this is it. It's time. Every other monster has been done from the original 29 house besides Creature. It's happening. And Legacy kind of just says no in this, like in regarding to this map. So I think that one's a little interesting. Like, how do we feel about that?
I mean, I never expected, because people have been saying that since November of 2019. Like, oh, it's got to be Creature next. It's got to be. And then it's really becoming like, no, it's really got to be. There's nothing. They have to. There's nothing left. And there's always something left so far. So I'm not surprised.
They're going to make their own Universal monster before they bring Creature back.
They're going to do like to go for like the alien monsters or something. Like just some obscure ones. But like before touching
the
Creature.
Silent Earth or whatever it's called.
God. All right, let's move on to the one that's pissed a lot of people off.
Oh, yeah.
According to Legacy, current rumors suggest that Five Nights at Freddy's will not be coming to HHN this year. He believes that Universal tried to get the IP. He also thinks that this property was meant to be the fifth IP, and that instead of replacing it with another property, they are just going to make it an original, making that a 4-6 original split. I like that last part the best, to be completely honest.
I mean, yeah.
But also, I don't know how much we have to talk about Five Nights because we talked about it since like September. Or to be honest, we've talked about it since like February of last year.
Literally.
And maybe this is the last time we'll need to talk about it. We'll
I doubt
see.
it.
I doubt that.
it.
But yeah, it not coming doesn't bother me at all. Us getting 6 originals, hello there.
Oh yeah, we're always going to be about that over here.
Yeah, I agree. I know a lot of people, like, because, I made a tweet sort of like posting this news, like, hey, and there was a lot of people going, like, no, and being, getting really sad and angry. And, like, I understand. This is a property that a lot of people connect with, a lot of people grew up with, a lot of people just care about. And it sucks because I understand, especially this year, there was a while there where we're like, why wouldn't it come? It made a ton of money. It's Blumhouse. Like the movie just came out, like it makes sense, but um I don't know, like I feel, if this is true, I'm really sad for those people who care about this property that much. I I don't really have any connection. I didn't really like the film, but I do feel bad for everyone, So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I share basically the same thoughts.
Yeah.
It sucks if a property that means so much to you, it seemed like a surefire thing, and then if it doesn't end up coming, yeah, that's painful. I get it.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I'm okay with it.
I'm very okay with it, but I feel like you guys said. I'm curious what this means for. I know this was heavily rumored for Vegas, so I'm very curious to see what that means for that.
I don't know.
Not that anything's been confirmed. I just know that it was a big rumor.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Oh, and we should clarify one more thing because it feels like Twitter that this happened, and then I don't know what happened with Twitter, but like someone put into the atmosphere like that Chucky was replacing it or something. Like it just started to spread, and I don't know how it appeared or anything. But hopefully, like Legacy saying here that it's probably gonna rumored to be replaced with an original. Helps with that thought, because I was seeing lots of people going like, yeah, I bet Chucky's replacing it now, and it's like, huh? What?
Listen, if it was Hollywood, I'd buy it.
Mm-hmm.
This is Orlando. They've repeated one house ever.
And if they're gonna decide randomly that today's the day, this is the year they're gonna repeat a house, I feel like I can almost like guarantee it's not Chucky. They're like, yeah, Chucky's the one we're gonna repeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe Spirits and Hellblock, right with Chucky. Those are the 3 houses I would look at you and go, it's one of them.
I'm happy that's gone. All right, there's one last one left.
Yeah, I'll take it. This one is more directly related to Legacy and his clues itself. Because if you guys know, last year and years before, Legacy has given out clues regarding rumored houses, and people had to decode them and guess them, and they were like, they were really fun. We all did in our Discord. Everyone's decoded and worked together, and various people worked together. It was a fun time. His recent Blue Sky post, and there's more after this I can like summarize really quickly. He said, as days go by, I'm reminded why I haven't started my HHN clues yet. If I started them in February again, because he did started them in February last year, it'd mean I didn't learn anything from last year. Besides, there are way more interesting theme park rumors out there right now. And then in addition to this, he's like, he doesn't like confirmed or anything, but he has said that he's leaning towards not making clues this year. Not to say that they're not going to happen, but yeah, that's the info.
I mean, I could see why he wouldn't. Last year kind of became a little shit show. And he said as much as that, he kind of got, and put out some stuff that wasn't true. Not purposely put it out knowing it wasn't true, but, bid on things that weren't true. We'll see. Maybe he, if anything, goes back to more how he used to do it. And it's more consistent. Just, I am going to do a clue for this house for this house. Start a little later in the year. We'll see. We'll see. They're fun. I hope they still happen. I think it's something that kind of gets the community to actually work together. So
Yeah, I agree. I would hate to see these gone. I understand if that's what he wants to do. That's fine. Like it is what it is. But we did have a lot of fun with those clues and the coding them. But I am happy that if they do happen, that it will be later, because as much as I love getting HHN, rumors and spec right now, because that's all we talk about every week. Like, yeah, I love when we get those clues and stuff. It last year, like Legacy, that was a mess from everyone. It was a mess. Like there were so many things that were wrong, spreading throughout the community, through various insiders, and it was bad last year. So I understand if he wants to do clues, waiting a bit, because to try to prevent that as much as possible, because that was one of the wildest speculation seasons I have experienced. That was crazy.
mm-hmm. I think there's also a large rise in how many people consider themselves insiders at this
Yep.
point. So it's a lot more not so reliable information floating around, and that
Yeah, it's why we tend to stick to the couple. I know that
yeah.
we talk about on the podcast.
And once someone gets a track record, I'm happy to start talking about them. But
For sure.
until then, we just don't want to talk about things that, when we're looking at people's track records, probably is not correct. So that's why we're sticking to who we stick with. And again, everyone had a rough year last year, so it's tougher. But I trust that they maybe learned their lesson. Literally, what Legacy said himself, and we get the more sure things that come out.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's all the news. We did it.
Hey, and that
Oh my
means
God.
that's our entire episode.
Yeah.
Actually, we have one thing before we're done.
Oh,
We don't
yeah.
have a voicemail, but there
Are you
is
gonna sing "Happy Birthday"?
No, it's none of our birthdays.
Yeah.
My birthday
Surprise! I don't know.
No,
Why would you sing it for yourself?
Exactly. That's why I'm like, my birthday's not even for like a month. Like, we have a DM that I missed on TikTok from a couple weeks ago that I think we can just answer better on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
So this is from Ryan. He says he's a big fan. He listens all the time. Pros and cons for Hollywood, and he's thinking about trying it this year. Was it worth it? He's been going to Orlando since Sweet 16.
Oh, hey. Sweet 16, friend. Hello. Pros and cons. Pros, honestly, if you are an Orlando person and you look at what the community says, it is going to be a better event than what you hear it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it absolutely will be. However, there's a 99% chance that you will not like it as much as Orlando. If you can accept that you are going to an event that you're probably not going to like as much as the event that you always go to, then hell yeah, that's what I do. That's what all of us do on this show. We don't go into Hollywood saying this is going to be better, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
Other pros and cons, like more about the event itself. The lines suck. Like, it gets fucking insanely busy. And I'm not just talking houses. Experiences, food, beverage, everything. The lines there are atrocious. They make Orlando look like a slow night on our busiest nights. It's crazy. And do I have another pro? It's better than you'll expect it to be. Again, I'll reiterate that.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I feel like if you go in with zero expectations, except you are there to have a good time in a theme park you may or may not have gone to before. My first time, I hadn't gone to Hollywood ever, even like during the day. So I was just happy to be there and like be on the back lot and go through like a little bit of the tram and all of that. So for me, I was just there to party. Like, I was at HHN in a different state or a different wherever. So I feel like if you go in with that and you're just there to have a good time, you're going to have a good time. But if you go in expecting Orlando, it's a completely different creative team. So go there. They scare different too. That's a big pro for me, at least.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
So,
that's true. Very different scare tactics. Absolutely.
And yeah, and some of, if not most of the actors have screens where they can see the line coming.
Mm.
So the scares are, I feel like sometimes they're a little bit more planned out. They don't really scare forward.
I would not disagree with the notion that it is the scarier of the two events.
Yeah.
Even
I
in the
agree with
zones.
that.
Oh my god, they run up on
Mhm.
you. And the terror track.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
they run up on you, all right.
Oh my god. But also, here's a pro that is not related to Hollywood. If you go to Hollywood, Knott's is right there.
I knew you were
true.
going to say that.
That is true.
So, a pro of going to Hollywood is Knott's. You go to both. I think duality. I think both events have to exist with each other.
Yes.
For HHN and Orlando.
Absolutely.
You guys pretty much said everything I was going to say. Like exactly. Hollywood's like the biggest thing to take from all of us is I think is that Hollywood's a good time. Just I don't know. Just don't expect for it to be better than Orlando at all. Just go in saying I'm gonna have a Hollywood night. It's gonna be fun, and you'll have fun. Like you're gonna have fun. You probably need to do an RIP tour to get the most fun.
Okay, Express will suffice.
Wait,
you don't
no.
you don't have to drop 400. Or
Okay,
whatever it is you
but
spend.
a pro in Hollywood, Jonathan, not to cut you off, is when you buy RIP, it includes your ticket.
Yes,
Mhm.
it does.
It's not
It
on
does.
top of it. So
I looking at the express lines last year though. Like I don't
Oh
know
my
if those
God.
were accurate, but seeing like 40-minute express lines for houses, I'm like, what the hell? This
Yeah,
is
it is.
express.
Like you'll get to do everything, but it's going to take you most of the night. Whereas with
Yeah.
RIP, we ran everything. If you averaged it out, we did every house like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Oh,
was
yeah.
like with us taking breaks and chilling and not going too hard. So,
Yeah, if you can and you're going for like one night and this is your Hollywood night, I as a person who would like didn't really want to touch RIP before, I was like just express. I'm like, no, it's splurge for the RIP is worth it.
yeah. And you missed, you have a personal pro that you forgot. While you're
I
at
have a-
HHN Hollywood, you can get the better Buzz Cola.
Oh, well, no, it's not a better, but here's
No,
the
it's
thing.
better
I think their
because it tastes the
Springfield
same and you're in a better location.
that is true. That I think their Springfield is quite a bit better. And I guess according to the like rumors, probably gonna stay longer than Orlando's is. So enjoy that Buzz Cola in their Springfield. It's one of the best experiences you can ever have. And by you, I mean usually just me. I'm like the only person who
Okay.
thinks that,
Good.
but yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the question you thought was just a DM.
I'm
But-
sorry I ignored it, Ryan. I'll respond to you'll get the response before you'll hear this episode, but thanks for reaching out.
All right. Any last things before we wrap up here?
Nope.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm hungry and tired and grumpy. Anyways, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube. Why do we even say Blue Sky? We don't say
I don't
anything on
know.
Blue Sky at HHN365. Also on our TikTok at HHN365pod. Join our Discord. Come discuss all the news and rumors. That link is in the description. We have our merch shop at HHN365.com. And you could leave a voicemail or apparently a DM on TikTok if you want to kind of sort of be with us here on the episode. That's 407 906 4134. And until next week, we'll see you in the streets.